Right, hello there. So what I'm going to do is take a T20 out on Thrills in the Hills. Probably one of my favourite tracks that's Rockstar created. It's quite a tricky one. There's some really tight corners on it and quite a few chances to absolutely total your car, but you'll see all that in a minute. The first lap I'm just going to try and go through everything bit by bit. It might be a bit tedious, but you'll probably see it all come together on the second lap. Um, I'm not going to do any talking on the second lap because not only will it sort of distract me a bit, but it'll also um, make it less clear sort of what you're actually seeing at the time. So um, I'll explain everything on the first lap and then I'll just get on with it on the second. Anyway, let's get into it. So it is quite a difficult track. It's a good one when you've got a nice fair session of people, but if you've got any dirty players, it can get quite frustrating. Um, so the start is fairly straightforward until you come up to a certain corner where there's a couple of lampposts and it can be quite tight. So you're going to make your car nice and straight here, line it up, just ever so slightly turn to the right. You want to brake here and you want to turn in and just work your way through that corner. So the braking reference point there is roughly sort of where that lamppost is really, just after this road. You're going to brake here, you want to turn in, maybe just clip that curb a little bit just to get your line right, and then come back to the outside, and then you want to come back over to the right for this bit, because here this is where it becomes difficult. It's very tight through here. You know, start on the outside and gradually turn inwards throughout the whole section. Pan the camera around using the right analog stick if it helps you, because there's a lot of walls on each side of this road, and the slightest twitch of your car or a slide into any of those walls can lose you quite a lot of time. Now after this bit, you'll be coming through here at quite high speed and you'll want to brake quite suddenly. It's quite difficult this. You want to go to the left about here, and then you want to cut straight back to the right and brake about here, and then you want to go sort of like a bit of a dab back on the accelerator again, back out to the outside and brake again. Now at this corner there's a couple of issues. Either if you turn in too late, you end up risking going into that wall, and if you turn in too early, you know, as tempted as it might be when it looks like quite a clear area, this is actually raised. So if you turn in across this, it's not going to do your car much good, and I've managed to roll it by doing that as well. So on this bit, if I just go back to here, I'll try and do it all in one. So what I'll do, I'll come to this side, brake a little bit, back on the accelerator, brake again, and just turn not too early, not too late, just so I can come as close to that inside bit as I can without hitting that wall. So this corner, it's quite tricky because it's quite sort of blind. It's downhill and you can't really see where it's going properly. So what I would say is come over here, brake about here just a little bit, and then come over to the right and watch out for that wall there. Get nice and close to it, but watch out for it. And then brake down this hill, just a little tap on the brake, because when you turn in on the exit there's a tree, and if you don't brake, because it's downhill, you lose grip coming down this hill, and your car sort of naturally drifts to the outside and you might end up going into that tree or sort of having a bit of an incident through here. So if I just do this now, just go back here. It's a bit awkward having to do it like this for this track, but there isn't really any way of doing it. So over here to the right, dab on a brake, turn through and watch out for that tree, and then just get a nice straight line through here if you can, and try not to let any of the bumps or lampposts or anything unsettle your car. Driving through here, you sort of no need to brake through that section particularly. You could let go of the throttle a bit if you want, because sometimes your car can sort of slide a bit, as it just did actually. When you get to this part, you want to drive just over this pavement here and hopefully not nearly kill a civilian like I just did. You're going to drive over the pavement. It's another woman. What's going on here? This is weird. Anyway, drive over the pavement, and the reason is you can drive straighter for longer, so you can keep your speed up and you avoid this middle section here and this sign. Because if you drive if you don't drive over that pavement and you sort of do this, it sort of, I don't know, it just makes it a bit more awkward. And especially when you're coming out down here, you end up going to the outside and maybe doing that. So what you want to do instead on that bit is, like I say, just cut over that pavement, come to the left, dab on the brake here, and here you want to straighten your car up before you go over this sort of drop, because that way your car will remain straight in the air and you won't slide. Now down this bit you want to keep to the right. It's quite tricky to make that turn sort of work and then respond quickly enough for this corner, so you want to brake over here and you want to turn in at the right point. If you turn in too early, you might hit the lamppost here. If you turn in too late, you'll hit the tree or the lamppost on the other side. So you want to turn in just about here, and just, you notice the car sort of takes a natural line between those two things. So between this stop sign here, it cuts between that and the lamppost on the outside, and that way you get a nice smooth exit and you keep up as much speed as you can. Now when you're coming down here, you want to keep to the left, turn to the right because there's a bit of a kink in this road here, and then brake quite sharply after that tree, sorry, after that tree there. You're going to brake, and when you get to here you want to turn in. Now you can turn in and keep to the road like this, or if you want to throw it around a bit faster and maybe get a better line for the following corner by being further to the outside, you can actually exit onto the pavement like this. That was not particularly helpful, but never mind. And from there, if you went for the first sort of idea, you'd be here and you'd brake and turn in like this. But what you'll probably see in a minute is that if you're on the pavement, you can just get a nicer sort of line rather than having to jump over that middle section and risk maybe sliding out. You can go on this side, brake here, turn in a bit earlier, and then just drive over it fairly straight. So yeah, that's what I would recommend for a lap. I'm hoping that's been helpful. I'm just gonna do a full lap now. Right, and there we go. So I am hoping that's been helpful. It is quite a difficult track, and I didn't actually drive that lap perfectly, to be honest. I did make a couple of little errors there, mainly sort of braking a bit too early on some of it, maybe not quite being aggressive enough, but I wanted to try and avoid making any major mistakes just so it was a nice sort of clean lap. But obviously the more you practice on this, the more you can sort of really throw it in, and it's worth mentioning that obviously with with other people on the race, you will have to sometimes compromise your line or just be that bit more careful, and a lot of the time it's just a case of getting past that initial problem of surviving basically the start, not getting taken out on that first corner. So yeah, see you in the next one.